Hello, my dear friends. Thank you for joining us tonight when we dive in one more chapter of the Illuminated prayers. So, thank you all for being with us tonight. It's such a pleasure to be here with you guys talking about the work of Andrea Luis. My dear friends, thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, there's some technical glitch here. I'm back again. Thank you again for the opportunity of being here with you guys tonight. And today we're going to be talking about chapter number 30 from the book In the Realms of Mediumship by Andrea Luis to the Mediumship of Chico Xavier. And as you guys noticed, see here I am showing my support also to Fraternity Without Borders, another incredible work by Wagner and everyone involved that is helping so many people in need, right? My dear friends, so I see everyone is coming in, is logging in. Welcome, everyone. We're right about to start and going into this a lot of details about mediumship today. And the prayer, hello, John. Very nice to see you there. Thank you very much for joining us. And we're going to go through some very detailed accounts of mediumship from the perspective of the spiritual world, and following on what we've already learned with Carol yesterday. Hi, Carol. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for everything. So, as I just said, as we learned from Carol yesterday, this book, In the Realms of Mediumship, as the title explains really, really well, Andrea Louise will dive into study mediumship. And as you all know, we all know, mediumship in a very direct and simple concept is the mechanism. Therefore, we are able to communicate between the spiritual world and us, and how does that communication occurs, and how can we establish that communication through the alignment of our thoughts and through the presence of an intermediary, which is the medium, right? But as we all learned from Kardec, we are all mediums, right? So therefore, all of us are influenced by the spiritual world in a two-way communication all the time, right? Hello, Daisy. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Betsy, hola. Nice to see you again around here. So beautiful. See, I see the flowers coming here. Very nice. Thank you all for joining me. See, today I have my Canadian heritage here. See, you guys are going to show you here. And also Fraternity Without Borders. Here we are. Very special night tonight. Okay. So we're going to go into the details of mediumship. Okay. And to take you on this journey with me, I hope you guys are ready, right? I'm going to pick up where Carol left yesterday. And one more time, I'm going to have the final chapter of the book. So I'm going to bring together closure to this very brief story, right, that we started yesterday, and now we're going to end today. Okay, so how about we start with just like a brief comment about mediumship, right? So if you go to the Gospel according to Spiritism, and also the Spirit's book, but this is a quote directly from the Gospel by Allan Kardec. And by the way, I don't know if you guys seen the Kardec movie. The new Kardec movie is now in theaters, and then particularly for those who are lucky enough to be in Brazil and available. Hopefully very soon will be available to all of us, right? I know Vanessa's already watched it, and I saw Andre already watched. So many people already watch it. I'm kind of trying to wait patiently to get a chance to look at it too. So let's see now the Gospel according to Spiritism, right? So mediums are the interpreters in charge of transmitting the Spirit's teachings to humans, right? And that's what we learned from Kardec. That's exactly what he's done. Right? He was able to look at a situation where most people would just make fun of, right? So tables moving, people talking in tongues and language, things apparently fun and exciting. He looked into it with the eyes of the spirit who can see beyond what we normally can, right? Matter. And he was able to come with a very, very scientific approach. I know so, aren't you? Me too, right? But I know. See, we have to exercise our patience, right? That's something very important. We're always learning, right? Every time we're learning, right? So that's what Kardec did. So we are able to learn, right? But also, rather, he continues, their mediums are the material instruments through which the spirits express themselves in order to become intelligible to humankind. So their mission is holy because its aim is to open up the horizons of life eternal, right? Very beautiful image, right? Open up the horizons of life eternal. That's exactly what we're doing since Kardec, but now every single day, right? Through Kardec Radio 2, through your Spirit Center, through so many different channels we have available, right? We're able to think with the eyes that see beyond just matter, right? We can see from the eyes of the perspective of the spiritual world, thanks to our beautiful friend Andrea Luiz, through Chico Xavier, with the help of Emmanuel, which wrote the preface, which, as we know the story, right? So it's a beautiful story. Okay, so that's what we're doing. So just going to the book now, and I know Caro already explained that to us yesterday, so I'm not going to repeat a lot of it, but I'm just going to bring this into perspective, okay? So Emmanuel writes, right in the preface, on this great pilgrimage, he writes, we're all instruments of the forces with which we are in tune. So the question is to all of us. So if we are instruments, remember Kardec said we are instruments that are able to translate that message, right? Mediums to make them intelligible, right? Now, if now Emmanuel says, well, but we're instruments that are in work or instruments of the forces with which we are in tune. So the question is, how we're tuning, right? So think about this, like for all of us. So that is the big message that comes over and over and over in Spiritism and the works of Andrea Luiz and Emmanuel. So the question to us now at this moment is like, what are we tuning in? So what are we vibrating, right? Because that will tell you, what are you being the instrument of, right? Isn't that true that our mamas always tell us, Mother's Day, remember we had Mother's Day recently, so tell me who you're walking with or who your friends are, and I kind of tell you who you are, right? So be careful what you're doing, who you're walking with, and kind of what are the things you're doing, right? Because that tells a lot about you, right? So tell me what you're thinking, that I know who's going to be around you, right? That's true. So that's actually Emmanuel was telling us that exactly same thing. And in this book, we're going to go through many, many examples of what happens when we decide to take the routes that goes against the pathway of that, the laws of God are telling us to go, right? So we're kind of going against it. So there will be corrections, right? So we're going to learn that in this book through the lenses of the spiritual world. Okay, so we're all mediums within our own mental field, right? And imagine the mental field, right? So that's what you are as a spirit, thinking, projecting that into your surroundings. That's visible, that's tangible sometimes, depending on where you are and what you're thinking. Okay, so let's see, let's continue here. What's happening, right? So associating ourselves with edifying energies when our thoughts flow towards the higher life. Okay, or with disturbing and depressing forces, as long as we are still enslaved to the shadows of a primeval and tormented life. Dear friends, remember, it again always reverts back to our own actions, but not only actions, the thoughts, because thoughts are a type of energy in action from our minds, right? So that counts too. So what are you doing, what you're thinking, right? Who you're walking with, kind of thing. That tells a lot on where you're going. If you're going towards the disturbing, depressing forces, right? Or if you're projecting your thoughts to the highest and your actions, then going, obviously, flowing towards higher life, right? That's straightforward. Although it sounds straightforward, in practice, we know that because we're living it, right? So we know it's very complicated, right? And we have to continuously do our exercises, right? Of thinking, rethinking, what's happening to you, who you are, what are your actions and thoughts. That is a 24/7 work, okay? Now, it's just like saying, we spiritists don't take vacation. They don't take vacation, right? Obviously, we need time off from work, and that's great. But you can't just for this week, I'm not going to actually be a spiritist. So I'm not going to put the effort to be better. I'm not going to think too much. I'm not going to do anything good. I'm just going to kind of relax. And you can't do that, right? Because if you try to do that, things are not going to be very good. You're going to go towards what the manual just told us, right? This little pathway that, will make you learn in a different way, right? Will make you learn in a lot more complicated way. Okay? So in this book, André Luis is followed by Eladio again, and he's having a hands-on course on mediumship. Oh my goodness, what an amazing experience. Can you guys imagine this? So André Luis, right, is going down with Aulus, right, the mentor, in this very objective, right, a hands-on experience, right, hands-on course on mediumship. So he's going to be able to see, examples in mediumistic meetings and spiritist centers. In this particular case, that's going to be in Brazil, right? So that's where they're heading to. Okay. Now, what is important here, right? So the important things here, right? So for those of us who go to the Spirit Center and have the opportunity to go there and to learn and to help and to pray, all those things, it gives us a behind-the-scenes look, right, of what's happening during the meetings, the mediumistic meetings, or regular meetings or lectures. Because when we go to the Spirit Center, we're going to a school, to a hospital, so it's just a combination of things. Like it's an emergency room spiritually, it is a hospital, it is a learning place, it is a sharing place, it is so there's all this complex events taking place at the same time. And there's always something happening, right? So even when we're there sitting for the lecture, there's like counting how many minutes I have to go home kind of thing. A lot of things are happening, right? People are being helped, spirits are being helped. Other spirits are connecting to vibrations that are not so good, right? Although they are a spirit center, they may still open the window to be influenced, right? So that's why we have to be kind of open our eyes, right? To okay, so Andrello is going to bring us concepts that were still very novel to us. Like when we learned, Carol explained a lot of those to us. For example, the psychoscope and things like this, right? Now, what else do we learn on this book? We learn about passes, mental fixation, fascination, obsession, simple obsession, complex obsession, fascination. We learn about all those things with case analysis, case studies, right? And this is not only relevant for us in Spiritism, but if you look at it in a scientific way, that's exactly how we review things in science, right? So we do case reports, case studies, case series, and then eventually we'll do a larger objective study on a topic, right? That's how knowledge sometimes is developed, right? So in the hospital, we do the same thing, right? So when we do rounds in a hospital, right, we analyze cases, right? And through the cases, we learn, right? That's an amazing. Remember what André Luis used to do when he was incarnated? So he's bringing that same approach, right? So it's an approach of a systematic approach to a specific case, and we learn with the case, right? That's beautiful. Thank you, André Luis. Let's all say thank you to him, because he's able to generate to us all this incredible amount of energy, of knowledge, right? That and energy too, but knowledge that we're studying today. Okay, so let's go straight to chapter 30 now. And the reason, because there's so much to review here, and I want to kind of learn and work with you guys now, and let's take it from there. So for everyone that's watching us, yeah, I see a lot of little hearts going around. I love that. Thank you so much, right? That makes me feel very happy to be here with you guys too. Okay, all right, let's see, chapter 30, right? So this is what Aulus is going to explain to us, and later on André Luis too. Okay, so look, that's going to start. Mediumship is an instrument of life, appears everywhere. So mediumship is everywhere because it is something that's innate, like it's something that we have, right? We're designed with, okay? So now, this is the interesting thing, because we always think about mediumship in the context of spiritism and spiritist centers, right? We just forget one little detail, is that because mediumship is innate to us, so we have it a long time ago, way before Kardec even started his work, right? So we have mediumship descriptions in the Bible, in Egypt, and in so many cultures, and different names and different kinds, and we all call it different things. In the end, that's exactly the same thing, right? So we're talking about mediumship. But mediumship is not necessarily and all of you are going to explain it well to us, that it not necessarily is just a communication between the spirit world and us, right? So the medium at that point is delivering or translating that message into intelligible message. But let's see what Aulus has to say here, right? So the farmer is the medium or the intermediary of the harvest. The plant is the medium of fructification, so it produces the fruits, right? Because it brings on the energy from the sun, the water, the soil, and transforms it into a fruit. So that's the medium of that fruit. The intermediary allows it to have contact with it, right? The flower is the medium of the fragrance, right? Everywhere we give and receive, filtering the resources that surround us and molding them, right? Their manifestation according to our abilities, right? So, my friends, what does that mean? It means that every time we make someone smile, we're being the mediums of that happiness, right? The smile of good energies. We're being mediums, right? We're being the intermediaries of that particular emotion. So the call for us is to be through mediums of love, right? Where we can promote that to all around us. In other words, make a concept such as love intelligible. How do we make a concept intelligible? We put it to practice, okay? So I can talk about several very complicated, complex topics that we have in science, for example, right? So many people created very smart things and complex, for example, let's say two-hit hypothesis in cancer. Like sometimes it's very complicated to understand that. But if we put it into practice and say, well, this is example, this is exactly what I do, this is what we should do, so that makes it easier, intelligible, it touches people. Right? So how can we be the mediums of love and happiness and friendship and all those things, right? We can do it. Yes, we can, right? Believe. Yes, we can. Okay, so he continues, right? And this is according to our abilities, right? So, of course, as the example of the farmer who can actually bring the harvest to our table, right? The question to us is that what can we take from the universe and lead to another person, right? So they can receive that through us. Can we do that? Right? And we can believe it, you can do it with the tiny little simple things you can possibly imagine, right? Because it's according to our abilities and we need to put into practice. So I, for example, I give this example many times, so if you heard it before, please forgive me, okay? But I remember a long time ago when I was studying in New York City, every time I walked into this building that I was working at, the security officer, security guard of the building used to sit in a desk very, very far away from the entrance. And I've noticed that no one would ever talk to this individual, okay? And one day I received this inspiration, like if, something that kind of touched me and said, you gotta do something, right? So I went a little bit out of my way into the building and stepped by the desk and said, good morning. That's all I said, okay? And I continued doing that many days in a row until one day, that individual stopped me and said, listen, you actually changed my day because you were the very first person to say good morning to me in a long time. And that really made a difference, right? So I was the medium of that particular feeling, right? I do a tiny little one, like, but see, that's how we build up things, right? If you can't give a hug to your partner when you wake up in the morning and say thank you and good morning and, express your love, how can we do the bigger things, right? Because our minds only pay attention to the bigger things, right? Right? Oh my goodness, Gabriel, don't tell me. I know. I see. Gabriel, you're the medium of my patience now, right? Thank you very much because I'm having to exercise the control of my need to watch that movie, right? So thank you very much. That's very helpful, right? So that's what we need to do. We look, right, at the bigger things. So we look at the universe and say, we gotta do this, right? We gotta do these amazing things, right? We have a hard time doing the little things. Okay? How can we do that? Right? So let us do a little roadmap, right? In our little roadmap, we set little goals that we can accomplish every single day, right? It's easy. You get there, right? It's like going to the gym. Do you guys ever go to the gym? Okay. I hope some of you, maybe. Okay. So when we go to the gym the first time, right, we look around. It seems like everyone has been going to the gym for like 500 million years, right? And you're just got in there. You have no idea what you're doing there. Okay. So what happens? So if you go there, then the first thing you do is like to take a massive amount of load and equipment, right? And you say, this is what I'm gonna do. This is my goal. And then what's gonna happen? You're gonna get hurt, right? You cannot do that. You have to go little by little. Every day you go and you do a little bit and a tiny more. Then you add a little bit of weight. You add a little bit of repetition, and you try one more time. Eventually, you build up, and then you do it. Easy, right? And then you don't think about it because you've done it, right? So in life, we should take a similar approach, right? Make goals that are doable so you don't get frustrated, right? So you can continue working, right? Um, you can continue working hard to achieve your goals, okay? So John DeRosa is angry, right? I just see a little angry face popping up. Sorry, John, I don't know what happened. All right, so that's important. So we work and work every day, like little by little, right, to build up our goals. Okay, so let's continue seeing what's going on here. Okay, so in chapter 30, there Louise is visiting a family. That there's a little sick kid, right? And they're going to help, right? And then there's a little explanation about family, right? So let's see here what Aulus is going to say about the family. Okay, so family represents a meeting of souls in the process of evolution, right? Very simple concept, right? Basic concept. Readjustment, spiritual growth, and sanctification. Men and women embracing in marriage as a school of love and work to honor the commitments they assumed before the universal harmony, transform themselves into mediums of life. Ah, look at this, right? So we, as a family, when we bring another spirit incarnated into this particular planet this time, so we're being mediums too. We're being mediums of life itself, right? We're bringing that individual, right, into this planet. Isn't that beautiful, right? So to all the mamas out there, right? So look at what you're doing. Beautiful, right? Let's celebrate that. It's very beautiful, okay? And then he continues on, right? Taking responsibility for the materialization of former friends and enemies. Ah, so our kids can be our enemies, Marco. Yes. There you go. John, I know, I know, John. John's like, it was a pocket angry face. I got that. So we'll make a note of that one. Okay, so when we receive our kids, that spirit can be our enemies, right? So that's it. There's an incredible chance that we're having to correct it, right? Because now we're gonna have lots of love for that little baby cute face when we see it the first time, right? And that energy alone will be enough sometimes to wipe away a lot of the sadness and anger that were there before between us, right? Oh, Marco, but I have a hard time with my kids. They don't listen to me and this and that. First of all, that's quite normal actually, okay? So let's not be disturbed about it, okay? Because I know for everyone have kids out there, you know, there's this terrible 2s and 3s and 5s and angry 6 and upsetting 7s and then the 13s and then the 5th and then the 40s, right? It never stops, let me tell you that, right? So it's always something that we learn, right? We work together on that. But what's important for us to remember is that we in a family have a chance to overcome our own challenges, right? Of helping and loving, right? In a scenario that we wouldn't have, for example, if we were not living under the same roof, okay? All right, so let's keep going. Aulus has continued this explanation about family, okay? So the lived out with dignity, fatherhood and motherhood are callings of the highest level for the reincarnating spirit, because through them, regeneration and progress are effectuated with security and clarity. Beyond the home, it would be difficult to identify a place where, then he continued, a place where the spirit will develop its mediumship, okay? So it's very important for us to understand this concept of, some of the challenges, right, in a family household are certainly related to previous experiences, and sometimes we bring together spirits that live with us for a long, long, long time, and they're very friendly, very connected, and we always bring in very often, right, spirits that are not, spirits that have issues before, so we have a chance to love, right? Put in practice love and correct that, okay? So during that explanation, Andrea Luis is going to be asked, right, to start the prayer. Right, so the prayer that we're going to listen today in study, right, the illuminated prayer is actually from Andrea Luis himself, and that's a prayer thanking Jesus. And that's not a coincidence. We probably had this is the fourth or fifth time that we're listening to prayers and studying prayers that are specifically devoted as a thankful thanking prayer to our Lord Jesus, our friend, Master Jesus. Okay, so that's how it starts. Lord Jesus, make us worthy of those who spread truth and love. Okay, so help us be truthfully representing, right? Love. Okay. Not talking about it, right? And like, is actually being represented it, like spreading it, being the mediums of love. Okay, that's what he's talking about. Add the treasures of wisdom to the souls who become great by assisting their fellow beings. So, what is the pathway that we have for greatness to allow aligning ourselves with the higher realms is by helping others, right? And that's a good remedy for any scenario. And not only in spiritists, but science always tells us too now, right? And for example, there are very good experiments that were done and repeated actually. For example, showing that in experiments that had animals where the caregiver, the caretaker of the animal, for example, was very friendly and supportive and took very good care of those animals. The animals on that particular group would show a much better response than the animals that were not shown affection, for example, right? So we all respond to affection and love, not animals, high evolved animals and not so evolved. All the animals in the scale of evolution will respond to love because love is the fundamental seed of our existence, right? So we're made out of it, right? So we all respond to it. Okay, so it's very important because if we disseminate love, we help someone, right? We are receiving that good energy. It's always good. So I'll put it that way. So if you're in a hard time, going through lots of challenges and things are not going well for you, being spiritually or physically or a combination of that, what is the best remedy for you? Believe it or not, will be to help others, right? Because you will be automatically receiving that good energy back to you, will help your mind, will help you focus, will help elevate your thoughts, that will bring better, obviously spirits vibrating with that same energy surrounding you, that will always support you, and then you turn the wheel towards our evolution, spiritual, moral evolution, right? That's the easiest way to start that journey, right? And there's actually scientific evidence that shows that, for example, in studies have shown in nursing homes and palliative care units and things like this, where individuals help fellow patients and fellow individuals in that same situation, they actually do a lot better in treatment. Okay, that is actually scientifically proven, right? One of the things that science was able to prove after we've learned from Andrea Luis, right? Andrea Luis is anticipating a lot of these things for us. Okay, now we can continue now. Okay. So Andrea Luis continues to pray, right? Help those who deny themselves, distributing hope and peace in your name. Okay. Teach us how to honor your faithful disciples with the respect and love we owe them. Uproot the harmful weeds of indiscipline and pride from the field of our souls so that simplicity may favor our renewal. I don't know if you guys had this experience, but if you see like one of those dandelions in your lawn, like a very nice one, a bigger one with a big flower, right? That's been there for many, many seasons, okay? Try to take it out. Okay? Just give it a try. Try to pull it, right? You may take a little chunk of the flower. It will come back. You don't even touch it, right? And then you buy a very fancy, weed remover, that goes in and dig in and remove it. Still doesn't work because the root is like this long. I don't know if you guys seen that. If you guys do any gardening, the root is like this long, and if a little bit of it stays behind, it will just grow again. Okay, pride is exactly the same way. I know it touches your pride right now. As I go, no, I can't understand. Yes, that's true, my friends. Right? So if you try, right? So if you recognize first that you have this, right? One of your vices. It's hidden, right? Because we hide it because we can't really live with it really well. Okay, so we kind of think that we don't have it. That's normally what we do first, right? And then all of a sudden, it's like you go on your lawn and you kind of close your eyes to that dandelion, okay? But then one day you're going to step on it and say, okay, I got to remove this, okay? That's the same thing. So when I find finally that I have this little thing called pride inside of me, and I kind of have to work with it, right? Or selfishness, right? I have it right here. Let's work with it. So I take a tiny little chunk of it, and I think I'm doing great. I'm great now. I'm free of this. Nah, you're not. We're not, because that has to be a daily, constant work. Okay? Every single day we have to remind ourselves of our vices, our challenges, and work to improve them, right? Daily, all the time. Sometimes, we feel, oh, we're going kind of backwards. No, we're not. Just by the fact that we're rationalizing that we have to move forward, that's already showing you that you are doing better, right? But we have to do it on a daily basis, okay? Until one day we'll remove the little tip of the root of the dandelion, which is about 1 meter or 3 feet underground, okay? The day that we remove that, it's not going to come back again, okay? So, my friends, that's the work, okay, that we have to do. That's exactly what Andrea Louise is saying here, okay? So uprooting the harmful weeds, okay, of indiscipline and pride from the field of our souls, so that simplicity may favor our renewal, okay? Do not leave us to our own blindness. So Andrea Louise recognizes that we are blind, okay? So there are many types of blindness, okay? The one that we normally recognize right away is the blindness that for some reason the cells in the back of your eyes cannot recognize the stimulus from the light, right? So we can't see material things. That type of blindness is the least severe of all, okay? Because that one, sometimes there's treatment, sometimes there's no treatment in our incarnated world, but that one will go away in the spiritual life, right? We go to spiritual life, we regain our vision through our pure spirit, and eventually next time I'm going to be born without it, right? So that is the least critical of all them. I'm not saying it's not challenging, right? But from the list of blindnesses, that's the least critical one. You know what's the biggest one? Can you guys guess it? Right? No? When we're blind to our own souls, like to who we are, we're blind to our mistakes, we're blind to the things that we need to work on, we're blind to, so that is a complicated one. So it's the blindness of the spiritual and moral side. That's the one that's critical, right? Because that one, when we discarnate, it continues, okay? Continues. Because if that type of blindness from the moral perspective, right, and blindness to the laws of God, okay, those are critical, okay? Those are not going to go away. You have to really work to watch and see that, right? So that's what Andrea Louise is saying. Don't leave us onto our blindness, okay? Guide our steps towards those who evolve by humbling themselves, okay? And who, by being noble and great in your eyes, do not feel lessened by making themselves small in order to help us. Glorify them, Jesus. crowning their heads with your laurels of light, so the light of Jesus may shine on us, right? Okay, my friends, so that's the prayer that we had to study today. So takeaway messages then from today, okay? For all of us here, I know there's for John, Carol, Sheila, Zen, Teresa, Rox, Matthew, Saul, all of you guys, thank you so much, right, for being here. So it's great to be here with you guys and to have this opportunity of discussing this important topics, right, and illuminated prayers. And I hope you guys are enjoying it too. Okay, so what are the takeaway messages from the book? Because this is the last chapter. We're not going to go back to the book in this particular series, okay? But the takeaway messages are, yes, we're all mediums. There's proof of it already. It's in the book, right? If we're working with mediumship in the spiritual center, right, through the works of mediumship, there's a very, very complex network of support that occurs in the background. But in the end, it always comes back to who we are, right? And what are we doing, what we're thinking, what are our actions, right? Because the mediumship is a door, right? Is a window that we're born with, right? So we have this opportunity to work with it. And if I open an opportunity the wrong way, obviously that connection will be established too, both to the positive and to the negative. And mediumship is a blessing, but also a trial sometimes, okay? It depends on how we use it and take it, okay? Important things here is to always keep in mind that mediumship that is aligned with what Jesus told us, right? Loving, of following the right path, okay? That is always a blessing, opportunity of helping others, okay? Sorry. So that is the takeaway message here. Yeah, so thank you. So that's very nice to see all of you here, okay? So that's it for the realms of mediumship. And today, I'm going to have a surprise, okay? Because I know both Carol and Vanessa, they have beautiful voices and they sing, right? And then I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to sing, okay? So follow on with me. This is going to be the final prayer because we're talking about illuminated prayer. So at least let us put this into practice, right? Let's start with something that's tangible, okay? So this is a song that I wrote many years ago. And this song is it's obviously based on a lot of Emmanuel Andrelou's work and also some inspiration that I received. Okay, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So if you want to concentrate, kind of focus on what we're going through, it's the song's a little conversation, right, between like one of the Caro, Caro, that's nice. Thank you, Carol. Thank you. Yeah, so let's do this, okay? All right. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna get started in a minute, okay? All right. So the song's called Here With You, okay? There you go. My dear friend, you know I am here with you. Just close your eyes and think of me, and you shall feel my presence. Oh, look around and we'll see that all of us need a little more giving, a little more patience, A little more love, a little more love. Whenever you feel that the ground below is sinking, oh, the sky above is dark and sad. Remember the words of our Master Jesus, and share a little more love, a little more patience, a little more discipline, a little more charity, a little more peace, a little more love. Or everything that is admirable is divine. Not all that is grand is respectable. Not all that is beautiful is saintly. Open your hearts and free your mind with a little more love, a little more love. Aha, there you go. Thank you. Where's the guitar? Right here. Haha, this is my own guitar. There you go. Okay, so thank you guys, okay? It's just a little song that I wrote a while ago, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, right? It's a chance for us to use, like we heard a few books ago, right? How sometimes singing, right, can help us focus and help us deliver that same elevated prayers, okay? So we're going to be back tomorrow with our friend Carol. Yes, un poco más amor. That's exactly. Yes. Thank you, Saul. Thank you, everyone. All right. So John, Carol, Teresa, Matthew, everyone. Nora, I see you there too. Thank you very much. Okay. Gabriel, exercising my patience. Thank you. Like you've been the medium of that to me today. That's like very nice. And I'll wait for the movie to come back here. Okay. Around us. Okay. So you guys have a great night. I know. Thank you, Daisy. Yes. Thank you very much. Okay. It's a nice inspiration. I have more. One day I'll bring more sometime later on. Okay. All right. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, everyone. I hope you guys have a great night. Okay. And we'll be back tomorrow, right? With our beautiful friend Carol, with this beautiful voice, with the little hearts, right? It's going to make me cry again, you know? So Carol's going to do that. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great night. Okay.